All right. I think we've got 57 people on here. We're going to get this thing going.
Do it.
Would you all please join in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And the four-way test of the things we
Things
think
we think say or do. Is it the
truth?
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Will it be
beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you. Thanks for joining in that. We are moving on next to Thought for the Day with Eric Rabisa.
Hi, everyone. Good to see your faces out there. So my thought for the day was, luckily I had a little bit of notice and I decided to conjure up some MLK memories. Martin Luther King. When I think of Martin Luther King Day, one memory in particular comes to mind for me, and it happens to do with Rotary. Some of you guys might remember that back in 2014, I was part of a group of Rotarians on a trip to our beloved Agua Prieta, and it was scheduled over the MLK weekend. But due to circumstances outside of our control, that trip had to be cut short and rerouted back stateside. But in true Rotarian fashion, we made the most of it, and we found ourselves participating on Monday, MLK's Day of Service, and the MLK Annual March of Remembrance in Tucson, of all places. That's not a place you would normally expect to see a group of all white students, adults, a Swedish exchange student, and a kid from Belgium walking down the street during a march. But that's where we found ourselves. And during the march, a lot of us chatted with the people, and it really helped put the whole day into perspective. And I can tell you at the time, to me, the contribution felt rather insignificant, a little bit awkward, and it didn't necessarily resonate. But over time, it did. And it became something that I was more and more proud of. And I'm happy that I participated in it personally, and I'm really glad that we gave that experience and for those kids and put them in that environment and outside of their comfort zone for that day or those hours. With regards to our impacts on Rotarians that day, there was one quote that came up yesterday that I'm sure many of you have heard that really resonates with me on that day. Over time, it sunk in. That quote is that no work is insignificant. All labor that uplifts humanity has dignity and importance and should be undertaken with painstaking excellence. Now, this quote tells us all to respect and honor hard work, no matter the job, from a custodian to a carpenter. It also applies to our work as Rotarians. I think that all manner of hard work requires a strong work ethic and commitment to do the best of our ability. And it's important to teach us to our children and also remind one another that no job is too small. So especially right now in COVID, keep up the good work, Rotarians. Keep writing your thank-you notes. Keep supporting one another. Support your community, and just keep looking forward to all these great things we can achieve together. So that's your thought for the day.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. I love it. Will you send that to me so I can include it for anyone who wants to read it over and over again? Thanks. PJ, you are up next. Thank you so much. PJ has brought back Student of the Month. I think it's something we've all been missing out on.
Thank you, birthday President Jillian. Yes, we have all missed it. And if Paxton and Kendra, could you guys each wave to all of us from your camera? I see Kendra. All right. I am really, and it's a great, there he is. There's Paxton. Paxton, welcome. Eric, your thought for the day was a perfect segue into our Students of the Month. Paxton and Kendra Sollers have been working on the 9/11 project for the past 4 years. They came to us as underclassmen. And if you don't know, the 9/11 project is a student-led organization, 100% student-led, that started, I'm going to guess, 7 years ago by Kyle Case, who was a junior at the high school, and brought to his attention and to our attention. At the time, there was no education in regards to what happened at 9/11 and the significance to all of us as US citizens and the loss of life on 9/11. When Kyle graduated, we had a problem, and that was who's going to lead this student-led organization. And Paxton and Kendra came to me, and I was absolutely blown away by their level of organization, their commitment, and their as well as their effort. So for these past years, Paxton and Kendra have done everything. And those of you who've seen the awesome flags in front of our bank, unfortunately, the stats, just for all of us to remember, 2,750 US citizens lost their life in the Twin Towers. The Pentagon, there were 184 citizens who were killed, and then 40 were killed in the flight that crashed in Pennsylvania. Another really sobering statistic is the number has now gone up to 3,946 citizens, and those are folks who are either first responders or rescue folks who have died from cancer or other illnesses associated with the 9/11 site. So again, Eric, as you were talking about, do great deeds and no job is too small. I just want to recognize Paxton and Kendra and thank you too for leading this effort. And the other part that is so impressive as they head off to college, which I want to hear from both of you what your plans are, they've already lined up. They're going to continue to have the cross-country team assist us, but also 4-H has adopted this program and they're going to continue to run it from the 4-H program going forward. So kudos to both of you. Thank you for doing such a great job. Kendra, I'm going to start with you, and then Paxton, just share with us what your plans are and what the 9/11 project has meant to you.
Okay. So next year, hopefully I'll be going to college. I don't know where I'll be going yet, but I don't know. I think the 9/11 project has been super impactful, like for all the students in the community. And I think like also for me, I've learned a lot about leadership but I think more importantly, it's like taught the importance of remembering and like respecting the people who lost their lives, especially for like young kids who wouldn't have another way to learn about what happened. So yeah. And then we have started to set up the not-for-profit for that. So.
I can, and of course I'm on a Zoom meeting. I've been on hold for almost an hour. My name is
Paxton, can you share with us what the 9/11 project's meant to you?
Sure. Yeah. 9/11 project is really important to me. It really taught me what it takes to bring people together as a group under one cause. For college, somewhere in the Midwest. I don't know where yet, but that's my plan.
All right. Well, for all of us, we're just so impressed and proud of you. And I just want to congratulate both of you. And we have our plaques all ready to go. So we're back in business with our Students of the Month. So for January of 2021, I present to you our 2 Students of the Month, Kendra and Paxton Solar. So congratulations.
Yay.
Thank you, PJ. I have really been missing that, and I love Paxton and Kendra. You guys are so inspirational, and I think every time we hear about Student of the Month, we all kind of go, what are we doing with ourselves when these kids are doing so much? So thank you for bringing that back, PJ. And I think we also owe Ange a thank you, because she kind of brought it to our attention that, hey, this is something that we usually do, and it's slipping through the cracks right now. So thank you also to Angela Catterson.
Thanks, Angela.
Well, I'm going to follow that up with the next. I think traditionally it's been called Rotarian of the Month, but I'm not being that on time with it. But there's so many people this year that I think are just doing so much above and beyond. But this this Paul Harris recognition and Rotarian recognition is really special to me. I kind of saved it for today, a perfect storm of thank-you-ary and my birthday, to recognize a Rotarian who has saved the club time and time again since March, when he first agreed to take on Zoom, before most of us even knew what Zoom was. Weekly, he's in contact with our presenters, making sure they have everything they need for our meeting. He shows up early every week, he stays late, he keeps the meetings flowing, and he keeps them entertaining. And all of this was even more work when we were doing the hybrid meetings. And when he agreed to become the next president, we both made a promise to one another that we would support each other through those years. But he's done so much more than support me. He's supported the entire club fully and is, I think, the largest pillar in the success that our club has seen this year. So I am very excited, even doubly excited. Mark, it's really not fair that you are not putting your own face on the screen right now. Because you weren't a Paul Harris Fellow before, so now you are. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
Way to go, Mark.
And you only have to do this for like 2.5 more years before you get any break at all. So.
Is that how it's going to work?
Yeah.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Next up, greeters. Or no, we don't have greeters. That's part of my old notes. Visiting Rotarians and guests. Who's here visiting? Ellen's waving her hand.
I can't find the little raise hand thing today, but there's my hand. So I would like to introduce Amber DeLay. So I don't know how we find her in the maze here, but Amber is one of the up and coming young executive directors in nonprofits, and she's with Grand Futures. The whole title of Grand Futures now is Grand Futures. I forgot it. Oh, this way, something coalition. I forgot the P, but this way now Amber has to talk. What does it stand for? I'm just totally blank.
We are Grand Futures Prevention Coalition.
Prevention Coalition.
Yes.
Okay. Preventing substance abuse in teens and young adults. And I care greatly about that organization, and absolutely excited that Amber's on board as ED, just almost going into a year. And she does want to join our club, so we got to keep her coming. Thanks for being here, Amber.
Thanks, Ellen. I appreciate you so much. It's good to see everybody. Love these meetings. You guys are great.
Thanks, Amber. Thanks for being here. Melissa, we're going to give you a formal introduction in just a little while, right before you speak. Anybody else?
Bethany, who's that guest with you?
Oh, I bet that's a cute guest.
This is she's just now 6 months old on my birthday, and her name is River.
Oh gosh. She is adorable.
She's happy to be here. Thank you for allowing me to announce her.
Looks like Winnie's got a guest also.
Where's Winnie?
This is my guest. His name is Chasen. He's visiting in the way that children visit me.
Hi, Jason.
He's tiny. How tiny is he?
About 5 pounds.
Wowzers. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
You're a rock star.
He was a New Year's Day baby.
Wow. Thanks for bringing him, teaching him Rotary early, both of you. On my screen, you are right on top of one another, so it's like baby central over here. I might just make you all I focus on this whole time. Great, I think we got it all covered there then. How about some announcements? I've got Marcy on the list first.
Hello, everybody. I'd like to thank, we had some great response to my second email and requesting some meals for Dan Bonner and Debbie Aragon. And, I got another text from Kim Bonner last night, and I want to share with the club that she said she had sent a couple texts saying how wonderful Rotarians were and how helpful it was for the meals. But unfortunately, night before last, Kim's twin sister daughter took her life. And so she said she was so appreciative of the meals because right now they couldn't even think about cooking. So I think we have a couple more meals scheduled for them this week, but I'll be sending a card on behalf of the club. But as some of you may or may not know, I know some of you know, but some of our new members do not know that Dan and Kim lost their first child. Tara knows how many years ago, but so this is just really very, very hits them really, really hard to be losing these young people in their family. And so my heart goes out to them. So thank you all for who did the dinners. We just never know what's going to happen. And so our timing for meals for them was even more appropriate than what we would have wanted it to be. So secondly, Adam Wilson, we've gotten good response. I think we've got a stationary bike coming his way. I will need a couple of Rotarians that have a truck and some strength to help me coordinate the pickup and delivery of that. So if maybe somebody could shoot me a message on who might be willing to do that, then that would be great. And we should be able to get that to Adam this week, okay?
Thanks, Marcy. We so appreciate you reaching out and keeping us informed of what's going on in everyone's life. We'll be sure to reach out to Dan. Jim Moylan, would you like to go next?
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy birthday, Jillian. Thank you. What I wanted to do is tell the assembled members here that this Thursday, the day after tomorrow, the incoming Rotary International President-elect nominee, Jennifer Jones from, I believe she's from Windsor, Canada, is going to speak to us, to the people in our District 5440. I have sent to Jillian and to Mark the links for registration and for the Zoom presentation on Thursday. I understood earlier that you had to register, even though there's no fee involved. You do need to register in order to get the Zoom link. I was, this is a big Rotary day for me. I was at the 6:50 a.m. Craig Rotary Club meeting with District Governor Chris Woodruff and his wife Caroline. And at that meeting, District Governor Woodruff said you did not need to register, but in any event, I think you have both links, and anybody who's interested in hearing the incoming Jennifer Jones, incoming Rotary International President-elect nominee. She is the first female president of Rotary International. So it's kind of a big deal. And if you are interested in hearing her speak, I would urge you to check out the links so that you can participate on Thursday. Thank you, Jillian.
Thank you, Jim. Big deal. Big deal. I am signed up and I have heard a ton of great things about Jennifer Jones. So I'm really excited to see that. The login information was in last week's write-up, and it will also be again in this week's write-up. So you'll have plenty of places to access that. Ian Engel, would you like to go next?
Indeed, I would. Thank you, Jillian. My announcement has to do with, and this plays nicely in tandem with the Student of the Month and what PJ was talking about, and even the thought for the day from Eric. So it's about the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards. I don't know, can I share my screen?
You sure can.
Awesome. So what we've got is a few key dates here. At the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards program, it didn't go last year because of the pandemic. So we're looking forward to 21 with increased anticipation. And we did carry over our slots that were already paid for by this club last year. So that's good news. I think we've got 2 Ryla and 2 young Ryla. So at any rate, there's going to be more to come on this, but it's starting to happen, and we're excited about it. What I need to do, deadline for requests, is by the end of next month, so I've got some time, is make sure that we have our slot requests and confirmations, which should be easy because we've already been set up for last year. Our payment should be easy too, because we already paid for our slots that we have from last year. So basically, I need to figure out who's on my team, who's on the committee. I know that I sent out an email to some of the folks who've worked on this with me in the past, Alyssa, Linnea, and Meg. I don't know if Meg's still around. I think Brian Harvey signed up when we had our sign up for committees thing a ways back. At any rate, I need to figure out who's on the committee so that I can rally people together and we can start having some planning meetings well in advance, so we're not scrambling toward the end to get the word out, particularly with some of the challenges that we'll be facing this year. Now, there are 3. There's the RILA, which is for juniors going into their senior year. It says 12th graders will be allowed to attend RILA in 2021. This is an adjustment they made for the folks who didn't get a chance last year, so that's cool, because usually that's not the case. Other things on this, 2 senior RILAs, we'll hold 200 for 12, 2 young RILAs. We're locked in for that. I do need to, I feel compelled, I feel like obligated to tell this club that we struggled last year in the committee that I chair for the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards conference with the RILA Plus. And the reason is that, I can recuse myself because the RILA Plus program received accolades from the district for being an amazing program. And I've built a life around that people with disabilities aren't real keen on going to special places for special people. We want to be in inclusive environments, and why can't the regular RILA camps be accessible and accommodating and inclusive of everyone? Instead of sending certain special people to special places, it becomes deficit-based. And I feel like people with disabilities want to be recognized for our experience and the value of what we bring and our strengths, regardless of our ability or background, race, social class, any other false delineation based on demographics is a little bit awkward for me. So I don't want to take a stance against it. I think everything that's good about it is good about it. And if this club is comfortable, and Jillian and Mark, I can take this up with the board too. I would like to have a conversation with the district organizers for RILA Plus about moving forward in a way that starts to be more inclusive and accommodating of everyone. Not knocking what they did, because they opened the door to at least get it so people with disabilities could participate, which wasn't even a thing in the past, right? So now, not thinking that this is like that we've reached the ultimate pinnacle of what we can do in that regard, that we can work toward a more inclusive camps that everybody can be valued and appreciated at, rather than, I know in the past we've had several people with disabilities who declined to go for that reason. So anyway, that was kind of a long announcement, and thank you for letting me get that off my chest, and there will be more to come.
Thanks, Ian. It looks like you should go back through the chat. There were some people that said count them in, or they'd like to be part of the committee. Thank you for continuing to manage that. And also, Ange said that we have $450 in the budget, and we should be able to send 5 people total, which would be cool.
I just had a question for Ian.
Okay.
Yeah, Ian, you mentioned that the seniors could be nominated for the regular RILA. Young RILA, does that mean 9th graders would also be eligible, since the 8th? I mean, it's going into 8th grade, right? is the normal young Ryla?
You know, that makes a lot of sense, and I'm trying to pull that up. Mark, thanks for unsharing my screen for me if you did that. I'm looking at that, what I had, and without taking any more time for this meeting, I don't see any clarification on that. And it's an excellent question, Paul. I'll email the district and get clarification on that and get back to you.
Thanks, Dan. Our last couple of announcements, Loretta couldn't make it today, but she wanted you all to know that the last Tuesday of the month for January, February, March, and April, she is going to do a Rotary pickleball mixer. It'll be $5 per person. There's a max of 8 people because of the restrictions right now. So you'll need to pre-register either by calling the tennis center or emailing Loretta. So I'll put that contact information in the write-up. And then one last thing on Thankyuary, but again, it's not too late to join. Cards are still available at Elevated Olive, and don't feel intimidated by the date. If you don't get them done in January, next month is Loveuary, and then the month after that is March Gladness. So there's no need to feel pressure by the date. And the last Tuesday of every month. Okay, so we have 2 programs today. We've got Angie Wood and Melissa Lahay, the Director of Sales and Marketing. We were gonna have Angie go first, but since we told Melissa she'd be on at 12:30, we're gonna swap them around and let Melissa go first. Thank you for being flexible, Angie. Melissa is the Director of Sales and Marketing at Casey's Pond, and she's going to fill us in on what's going on over there. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to be here. I do have a presentation, so I'm going to share my screen if that's doable.
You should be all set.
Okay. Okay. There we go. Oh. So I thought I would put together a little bit information about senior living and kind of educate a few people that may not know what we do here at Casey's Pond. And then I'll talk a little bit about what it's like financially to live here at Casey's Pond, and then how Casey's Pond fits into the bubble of senior living. So that's kind of the gist of what I was going to talk about today, and then also update you all on things that are new and take questions that you all might have about the community. So just a little bit about senior living. Being the sales and marketing director, I get so many phone calls of where do we even start? What do we do? How do you navigate the senior living environment? And you all as business leaders in the community, I'm sure, have questions about that, or maybe you don't have a need right now. You may have a need, or a friend or a family member that could have a need in the future. So senior living, there's several different types of communities that are out there. They're independent living, assisted living, memory support, and skilled nursing. And we offer here at Casey's Pond a full continuum of all of those services. So the first thing I'll talk about is independent living. So here at Casey's Pond, we do offer independent living, or it's often referred to as residential living. So this type of living environment, people can come and live here, and they're less responsible for home maintenance. So they don't have to worry about shoveling their driveway or taking care of anything that breaks. We take care of everything maintenance wise. And they also have the opportunity to live a more social life because they're here in a community. They have access to ongoing healthcare options as they may need it. And things that are included for people that do live here as independent living residents are, they do have a meal plan. They do have weekly housekeeping. All their utilities and cable are included. Transportation and concierge services are all included. So really the only extra expense that someone would have living at Casey's Pond as an independent living resident would be a telephone and potentially any extra living expenses they had, like as far as a car or something like that. Other than that, things are all inclusive. We also have assisted living here at Casey's. And what assisted living is it's residential living with a little bit of extra support. So people that live in assisted living have access to a nurse that's here 10 hours a day, and they have caregiver support that's here 24 hours a day. So people that live in assisted living are suitable for people that need a little bit of extra support with the activities of daily living. They need a little bit of help bathing, dressing, eating, maybe some medicine management or toileting. They have all the same services included as independent living, so meals, housekeeping, transportation, etc. Memory support is also something that's offered here at Casey's Pond. Memory support is under the assisted living umbrella. The biggest difference between memory support and assisted living is there is a secured environment. So residents that live there are safe. They can go into the community, but coming out, an alarm will sound. So if they are a safety risk to themselves or others, sometimes a memory support neighborhood is most appropriate. In the memory support activities and things, meals, just different services are geared to someone that's living with dementia or Alzheimer's. So it's a little bit more specific. We also offer skilled nursing or rehab. And the difference between skilled nursing and assisted is there is a nurse that is there 24 hours a day. Skilled nursing is often described as, people would call it a typical nursing home, where I think most people have experience with nursing homes. They don't as much have experience with assisted living, but someone can come and be in skilled nursing if they're needing 24-hour support. They can also be in skilled nursing for rehab. So most common thing is if someone potentially breaks their hip, they need short-term rehab for a while until they can go back to their normal level of living. And another service that we do provide here at Casey's Pond is adult day services. So right now during COVID, we're not offering this service, but adult day services are generally offered here where someone maybe is living in their own home independently with caregivers, but their caregiver may need a break, or the older adult may need some more social stimulation. They can come to Casey's for anywhere between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Or they can come, just a few hours, 2 hours, once a week, or every now and then when maybe their caregiver might need to go take care of something for themselves. So some financial pieces. This is probably when people are calling, they want to know, well, how much does it cost to live there? What are my choices? So Casey's Pond has quite a few different options. So one of our options is an entrance fee or a life plan community. So this term is probably something that is somewhat new. It's been around since the 70s, and it was originally started on the coast by the Quakers, where the Quakers wanted a place for their older adults to come and live and not have to worry about things once they've made the decision to move into a community. So most communities that have a life plan option have a one-time upfront investment, which we call it an entrance fee. Some people call this like a buy-in. You've heard that term before, maybe. And with that, someone gets a lower monthly fee. They have discounts on higher levels of living. So if they move in as an independent living resident and then need assisted living, memory support, or skilled, they do get discounts. They also have priority access to higher levels of living. So if someone needs assisted living, they're going to have priority over someone that maybe lives in the community in their own home and isn't moving in as need of assisted living. And the biggest part of an entrance fee and life plan community is people are guaranteed to live here for the rest of their lives, no matter if they outlive their assets by, no fault of their own. And I think as people age and adult children, that's probably most people's biggest fear of, what if I run out of money, what happens? And so with the life plan, if someone does run out of money, they are guaranteed to live here no matter what. The other option that you have living in a community is a traditional rental plan. So this requires a one-time small community fee, and then people really truly live here month to month. So they can move out at any time. They're not locked in for a 6-month lease or a year lease. It really is month to month. The other option financially is a short stay or a respite stay. I think this is important to talk about because a lot of people don't know we do this. They think when considering moving into a community, they're making a huge decision. It's a big life change and it's permanent. Someone can come in and stay here at Casey's Pond in all levels of living for anywhere from a weekend stay for independent living or up to 3 months. So a lot of people will use this as a caregiver break if they're needing services. But a lot of independent living residents like to try it before they buy it or before they make a permanent decision and see if community living is something that they are interested in. I always say most people don't really know what community living is like. Their best description or experience with that is maybe if they lived in a college dorm. So trying senior living in a community living setting can be kind of scary. So I always like to offer that for people. There is different types of communities, non-for-profit. Casey's Pond is a non-for-profit community, and how we are run is we're managed by a board of directors, and I know some of our board members are members of the Rotary, so I've seen you all on here, and they, along with the executive director or the CEO, help to run the community. So all the profits that the community may make go back into the community. So I think a lot of people don't realize this about Casey's Pond is that we are not for profit. So kind of options for payment. Most people are like, well, does insurance pay for this? How do I live there? So there are several different payment options living in a community: private pay, long-term care insurance, VA aid and attendance, Medicare, and Medicaid. So how that works, in independent living or residential living, the option here is private pay. And assisted living memory support, one can pay for it privately. Long-term care insurance, VA aid and attendance can help. And Medicare will only help pay for any kind of rehab services, but they do help in the cost. Skilled nursing here can be private pay. You can utilize long-term care insurance. Medicare will pay for skilled nursing, but for rehab only. And Medicaid is also accepted as a payer for skilled nursing. So kind of some other options: home care and home health and adult day services. Also talk about that here as far as payment. So how does Casey's Pond fit into this puzzle? So I know when I was talking about this presentation, some people were new to Steamboat or maybe didn't know kind of a little bit of the history of how Casey's Pond was created. But Casey's Pond was created with a collaboration of a group of people that really wanted seniors in Northwest Colorado to be able to age. Prior to Casey's Pond opening, if someone needed assisted living or even looking for independent living, they would have to go to the Front Range. So a collaboration was formed. We have some bondholders and investors that came together to build the community. And at that time, the Doak Walker Care Center, which was the skilled nursing home here in Steamboat, was located at the hospital. And at that time, the Doak Walker Care Center moved to Casey's Pond, and we now call that the Doak Walker neighborhood. So it's all under the same roof, and that is just a neighborhood here at Casey's Pond. So when that formed, we created a continuing care community. And one of our main philosophies that we follow here is we are an Eden alternative community, which when I generally say that, if you're not familiar with that, people kind of give me this deer in the headlights look like, what does that mean? But what Eden alternative is it's a philosophy to eliminate the institutional model of senior living to eliminate it. And so we are a more home-like environment that's centered around residents making decisions. So it's not us as a leadership team and a management nurses to say, this is what the residents are doing. It's what do you want to do and how can we support you in doing that? So that's one of the reasons. It's a lot of our lingo that we use and terms that we use to describe the community. Language is important. So we don't have a facility here. We have a community. You don't live in a unit or in a wing, you live in a neighborhood. So we try to use those types of terms to refer to the home because, no, I wouldn't want to live in an institution or a facility. I would want to live in a home or a community. So that's really important to us here. And when you hear people talk about Casey's Pond, we call facility as the F word. So we use community as our description. So, and I kind of talked a little bit about this, that Casey's is a non-for-profit and we are established to provide options for people in Northwest Colorado. We are a full continuum. So we have the independent, assisted, memory support, skilled nursing, and adult day services. So the financial picture here at Casey's is we have two choices, the entrance fee option or the rental option. And when you do that, you have the options of private pay, the long-term care, the VA, Medicare, and Medicaid and skilled nursing. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about this life plan option or the entrance fee. So when someone moves in here, they have a one-time entrance fee. That entrance fee is based upon the size of the apartment that they choose. And with that, they do have discounted monthly independent living fees. That discount that they do have in independent living also goes throughout the full continuum. So if they would move to assisted living, memory support, or skilled nursing, they receive a 10% discount on those monthly costs. Someone also does get 5 complimentary respite stays in a higher level of living. So for example, if a independent living resident gets the flu and needs someone to bring them soup and take care of them, they can move to a higher level of living for 5 days, and that's included in their cost. And then they do have that priority access to any other higher level of living, and it's guaranteed for life. So there is an application process to go through to qualify for a life plan. Someone has to be financially qualified, and they do have to have healthcare qualifications. So they do truly have to be independent to enter the community as a life plan. So we have 3 different choices as far as our entrance fee options. And this is something that's new. So if you've heard a little bit about Casey's Pond and this option before, last year we started offering 2 additional refundability options for our entrance fee. So most people that choose to move in under the life plan choose a 90% refundable option. So basically they pay an entrance fee, and upon leaving the community, either themselves or their heirs will get 90% of that entrance fee back. We have another one that's a 50% refundable plan. So the entrance fee is a little bit less, and then they do get the same discounts as they do with the 90% plan. But when they do leave the community, they only get 50% of that entrance fee back. And then we have a fully declining entrance fee. So basically, over the course of 4 years, if you were to pass away, your heirs would not get any of your refund back, or if you were to move out, they would not get any after that time. So a couple of different options, and we tried to do that just to be inclusive to everyone that lives in the area, everyone's financial situation, why they're moving are different. So we want to make sure we try to offer as many options as possible. So talking about what's new. So I know this was one of the questions, is what's going on with COVID, and the vaccine is so new for us. We're so excited. Today was our 2nd clinic. And so a majority of our folks are vaccinated with 2 doses. So we're really super excited about that. We'll have one other clinic here at Casey's next month to get the people that today was their first dose. They'll be able to get their 2nd dose next month. Another thing that's really new and we're really excited about and wanted to thank you all, Rotary Club, for donating to get an e-pedicab. So I know Marcy was a leader of this, that this spring we're going to be getting an electric, I call it a rickshaw. So it's an electric bicycle taxi that we are super excited to get, because I know our residents are going to really enjoy going around town in this electric bike. So those are, you know, some things that are new, and I wanted to open it up to questions because I know that you guys might have some. So I'm happy to open that. Stop sharing.
Okay, do we have any questions?
I have a question. Thank you, Melissa. This was really enlightening. You've answered a ton of questions for me. And I was really curious about your short stay respite. Is that, is it an individual room or a shared room?
So depending upon, I would say a majority are a private room. It would depend upon their level of living, but I would say probably in all levels it would be private. So I'm not sure what level of living, if you have someone or in mind, but if someone's coming as an independent living resident, they stay in a fully furnished apartment. It's kind of like you're going to rent a condo up on the mountain. You bring your suitcase, your clothes, your shampoo, and you're ready to go. Kitchens are fully stocked. And the same with assisted living. You're in a fully furnished apartment. Basically, you still move in under doctor's orders. So if you do need care, then you still go through that process of, you know, finding out and collaborating with the physician, but someone can come and stay. Usually a week is probably what most people stay. And then we do have quite a few people that have come and tried it out for the winter. So a majority of our residents do move here because their adult child lives in Steamboat. And so they're like, oh, mom lives in Florida. She doesn't know she can handle the winter. So, oh, come on, mom, come stay, try out some snow, see if you like it. And then before they move the entire home in Florida to Casey's Pond. So
yes, so the other question is, do you take 46-year-old mother of 3?
Yeah. You have to be 55. You need to wait a couple more years. Or you can find an older adult that you can come stay with for a week. That's the limit.
All right, good to know my options.
So it looks like Ian Engel has a question for you too.
Okay.
Hi, Melissa. Do I really have to be 55? I wanted to ask that. And also, let's say I did want to move in there. How would I qualify as eligible for independent living? How would I demonstrate that I'm independent? Is that based on a functional needs? I mean, I use a wheelchair, so right there, that's going to make it a challenge.
Yeah, that's a great question. We are an equal opportunity housing. So if, Ann, you tell me that you're independent and you live independently, you know, legally, you have the right to come move in here as an independent living resident, unless by chance you do fail at living as independent, then we can say you need to live assisted living or you need to be in another higher level of living because we're responsible for your safety. So that's basically the qualifications. The qualifications, if you're looking into moving in as a life plan where you do have to meet certain healthcare qualifications, they're very, very simple. It's, can you make your own decisions for yourself? Can you go to the grocery store, get groceries for yourself, or do you have a solution to help you get that? So I don't know if that answers your question.
It does mostly. I hope it's a few years before I fail at living. And does the 55-year thing still apply, or?
It does. I mean, we are a 55 plus community. So there are some exceptions that we do make in skilled nursing. So if someone is younger than 55 and they do need skilled nursing services, then that's where exceptions are made for someone living in our community that are younger.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
It looks like Eric Rabisa has a question.
Thanks, Melissa. I have a good friend who's in the assisted living program, and he went in 2020. And I was wondering if he's had both shots, I think, as of today. I was wondering when we might be able to visit her and what capacity we could visit in 2021. Would there be outdoor visits or anything like that?
Yeah, great question. I think we all probably have that wonder too. We are governed, we are following the recommendations by the county health department, the state health department, and federal. So right now they have not released any differing restrictions, visitor guidelines with relation to the vaccine. So right now I don't have an answer to say, yes, this is what it's going to look like. But Dr. Harrington has mentioned to us that on how many people are vaccinated and if we can reach that herd immunity, he would be an advocate for reducing the visitor restrictions. And he would advocate for that. I don't know what that will look like, if it will be outdoor visits, if it will be you have to be vaccinated and the resident has to be vaccinated, I'm not sure. But as soon as we have that information, we've been very transparent, as you all probably have seen, with our communication as it relates to COVID. So we will be updating our website and sending out communication to all friends and loved ones and contacts of residents that live here as soon as those things change. So.
Karen Ray, you're up next.
Hi, that was a great presentation. I was just curious, my parents live in a place in Augusta, Georgia that's very similar model where they live in a little house and then they can move to the big house and whatever, but it was very expensive when they moved in. So can you give me an idea, because I would like to get my favorite aunt from Seattle here, what that initial investment range is on a 1-bedroom for just a single person?
Yeah, so for that entrance fee option, it's right around that 200,000 is the start of that entrance fee for the 90% refundable plan. But if you did the other option, it can be right around 140 is where it would kind of start. So, and that's the entrance fee option. If you're looking for a monthly rental and not the entrance fee option, our studio apartments start right around 2,600, and then a 1-bedroom traditional apartment is right around that $5,000 range per month. So that gives you an idea. But I mean, Karen, if you would want to talk kind of more specific, I'm happy to share that information. We're very transparent with pricing. It's not a secret. So
yeah. No, that's really helpful. I think their initial investment was about 400,000 or 200,000 a person, but they don't get any of that back in the program that they're in Georgia. So that's really nice that there's a way to get it back to your heirs at the end.
Mm-hmm. That is nice. A lot of people look at it as an asset preservation, where the older adult says, okay, I know I've got my loved ones taken care of. Whenever I do, they have something to give back to them. So they like that option.
It's great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Karen. Next up, we have Carl Gills.
I would just like to thank Melissa for her presentation. I'm on the board at Casey's, have been since the beginning. And I know that like all senior care facilities in the state and nationally, it's been no secret that Casey's has had some challenges with COVID, but I do know and would like for everybody else to know as well, the state, since this whole process has started, has had multiple visits that they are mandated to do to look at infection protocol or infection prevention protocols, infection control. And Casey's has consistently done outstanding with usually zero recommendations or zero deficiencies on this issue. I think there was one visit that there was one minor recommendation that the surveyors made, but and I think the newspaper has been pretty transparent. I think they've been transparent in the newspaper as well to let people know what's happening. But the state has been very complimentary of the work that Casey's staff has done. And I know, and Melissa, you can take back to everybody. I think they recognize that they have done outstanding work over this process, and the community really does thank them for that.
Thank you, Carl. I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you, Carl. That was a great wrap up. A great way to end that presentation. Melissa, thank you so much for being here and taking the time out of your day to present to us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, if you would send me your presentation, I'll include it and we'll have your contact information so that people can get in touch with you as more questions arise.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Melissa. Well, good news today is going to be led by the birthday girl and her beautiful baby.
You're too soon, Gillian.
What?
We still have Angie's classification talk.
Oh, shoot. Steven, you go out of order on my list. I can't do anything.
I want to see these pictures. I got to sneak.
Yeah, I do too. I'm sorry, Angie. You're up.
Okay. I had a technical glitch somewhere between Clark and downtown. My slideshow got lost, so my very personal technician, Joanna Allison, is going to show my pictures for me, hopefully from within my desktop. So bear with us. As you can tell, I'm not a local. I moved here from Montana about 3 years ago, and have been in Rotary, again, courtesy of the Allisons, for about a year. So I think at my very first meeting, I saw Dose and Hazel's presentation. And oh my goodness, that was very, very intimidating. So cross my fingers that this will work for us both today. I grew up, well, as you can tell, I'm not a local. I grew up in rural North Wales. I was the middle of 3 girls. On the picture that's on the screen at the moment, you can see my little family on the left, upper left, and then the 3 sisters on the right, and I'm the one on the right. I included the very old postcard at the bottom of the collage as a nod to Eric Rabisa. He may be the only person here who knows where I'm from, because he went to, I think, about a mile from where I grew up, which is where this postcard is of. So next slide, please. North Wales, many of you may know or not know, but North Wales is a small country part of the United Kingdom. I think it's about 8,000 square miles big, about the size of New Jersey. And we have, I think, somewhere around 3 million residents the last time I looked. Lots of beautiful mountains, beautiful coast and beaches, lots of sheep. And we have our own language. I grew up learning and speaking Welsh. It's about like German, very, very different from English. If you speak English, it doesn't give you a leg up to speaking Welsh. The 2 pictures on the screen at the moment are of famous castles very close to where I'm from. In fact, the one up on the top left is Carnarvon Castle. I spent probably a few years there between maybe 3 and 9. It's where the Prince of Wales is always invested. The reason I show these pictures is not only because I'm sort of proud of the castles that we have and the fact that I lived in amongst them, but Wales has the most capitals per square mile of any country in the world. Lots and lots of castles. I was lucky to have an outdoor life as I was growing up. I think when I was little, we lived by the beach, and then moved to where I ended up these are just 3 more pictures of castles, one of the famous bridges in Wales, and then one of my favorite places in all the world is the bottom picture. It's a little place called Llanddwyn, and I've given you the Welsh name for it. It's a beautiful beach and a nature conservancy. The little lighthouse that you see is on the island. Lots and lots of birds. Every time I go home, which is very often, I go to this particular beach and wander along it. So I'm showing you some of my favorite things. I think I was saying that I had a pretty outdoor life growing up. Went to a very small rural school. There were probably 5 in my graduating class. I'll tell you about that one in a minute. But there were about 5 of us, I think, in my graduating class. I had decided at some point, I don't really remember when, that I wanted to go to medical school. And I was told very clearly by my headmaster that I could not do the physics that I needed in order to go to university. So I had to get around that by finding a medical school that would let me do physics to start off with. Going back to the picture that you see, my grandfather was an inveterate traveler. He went on what used to be called potato boats. They were cargo boats where he was the only passenger. And I think he was responsible for some of my love of traveling when I was growing up. In addition to going all over the UK, as a teen, I went to Holland as a Girl Scout. And then the picture is, I think I was 14 when I went to Spain with another friend and her mother. And I'm not sure which of the 2 people or the calf or me is more afraid in this picture. The calf is closer to the camera, so it looks bigger. It was teeny. And I felt very sorry for it. But anyway, that was one of my first trips overseas. The other thing I guess I'm going to say at this point is that I grew up with parents who were both Rotarians. Because I lived in a very small community, they were both presidents many times. So I got involved with Rotary from a young age. I went away to medical school, I guess, in 1966. My first year was physics, and I think I did economics, statistics, and a couple of other things. This was a pre-med year, and especially for people who had not been able to do certain subjects in the schools that they came from. I was at med school for 6 years. Wonderful, wonderful years. Hard work, very challenging, but made lots of friends, many of whom I'm still in touch with. Through the years, I was exposed to, Through the years, I was exposed to all branches of medicine. I think I delivered 30 babies, took out lots of appendixes, all sorts of different things. And I found that one of the things that I enjoyed the most was surgery. I mentioned that because I was hopefully going to be able to do cardiothoracic surgery when I got out of med school, but that changed as time went on. During my years in med school, I was very lucky to be able to travel to, well, we drove to North Africa one summer and spent 2 months in the Sahara, went to Germany many times. The last 3 months of my med school time, I spent an elective 3 months in Beirut. I was at the American University of Beirut in the Department of Public Health and Pediatrics. The primary area of Beirut that I worked in was Shatila, which is a Palestinian refugee camp. I was involved with the World Health Organization Failure to Thrive project. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm not sure which, I met Bruce, who's now my ex-husband, but I met him, he lived out there, and we dated while I was out there. Because of all of that, I changed my mind about what I wanted to do after med school. I realized that because he was in the oil business, we would be traveling a great deal, and so had to adjust to that in terms of my goals for myself. I lived in Beirut for a while. I went back to England to do my rotating internships. Then he came to London to work for a while. We joined forces to go to Peru. We lived in Lima. There, I worked for Johns Hopkins as a research assistant at the Clínica Angloamericana. We ran a small ICU. We did research into infant formulas, and we did a lot of work out in the barriadas with children who were dying of the common cold. We also did a lot of work with the malnourishment illnesses, kwashiorkor and marasmus. And it was an incredible experience. My son was born in Peru. Sadly, he had meningitis when he was 5 weeks old and remains severely disabled from that. While I lived in Peru, traveled a great deal in South America, went to, I forgot to tell you, the top left-hand picture is where we lived in Beirut. The other postcards are Peru. And then the one on the left, can anyone guess? That's when we lived in London. It rained all the time. I think I mentioned traveling down when we lived down in Peru. We were lucky to go to lots of places in South America, Central America, the Caribbean. We ended up just living in Peru, I think under 2 years, moved to Austin, Texas briefly, then New Orleans, where I moved in mid-year in terms of medicine. I did, to start off with, a residency in anesthesiology, but decided I like my patients awake. I did find out that I would have to do all of my final examinations that I'd done in the UK again. So I spent time studying for that, and then did eventually pass those. While I was doing my anesthesia fellowship, it's probably important to note that I had suspected from the outset that my son was handicapped in some way. So I needed for him to have what's called the $1 million workup to see what was going on. And while we were doing that, I did shift work in the emergency room so that I would be able to have time off, and then did some emergency family practice clinics, and ended up doing a psychiatry residency because those patients are typically always awake. We were in New Orleans five years, then moved to Dallas, largely because of my ex-husband's career. In Dallas, I joined a big group, did inpatient and outpatient psychiatry. Predominantly, the outpatient work was the terminally ill, particularly the terminally ill youth. After 18 years of marriage, my ex-husband and I separated, and I became a single mother. Somewhere in amongst here, I can't remember quite where, well, I do now, looking at New Orleans. My daughter was born in New Orleans. So I had both my son, who was disabled, and my daughter to raise. Stayed in Dallas for 20 years, and then decided when both of my kids left home that I was going to move back to my roots, to the country. The picture that you saw last was me in Dallas with big Texas hair. You may have noticed that. Didn't keep that after Dallas. The two pictures on the screen now are from Montana. The first picture of me on the floor is a nod to Adrienne Struck. In her presentation, she showed lots of pictures of her upright and skiing. This was my best attempt, Adrienne. I tried to learn, but couldn't manage to stay upright. The bottom picture on the right is me in Glacier Park. If you've never been to Glacier, you need to go. In Montana, I worked the whole time I was there. I did what are called locums. By that, I mean, you're sort of a traveling doctor. You go to places of great need. Typically, I was in places, rural state facilities, practicing psychiatry, and did a lot of forensic work. These two pictures, the one on the top left is me on an ultralight. That was certainly an experience. We went a little over Glacier Park in that, but goodness me, I'm not sure I'd do it again. The bottom picture on the right is me and my first attempt at being a cowgirl. Okay, in the interests of time and good news, I'm going to move on, leave out a lot of the traveling that I did during those years to just tell you 2 seconds worth of service that I've provided during my years. I think because of my parents, service was a very important thing for me. So let me just, as I say, take 2 seconds to tell you about some of the service opportunities that I've had the privilege to be involved with. In Dallas, I helped to run nighttime clinics for indigents. These were really people who'd had emergencies and could not get appointments quickly, so we would see them at night. I also was a member of the disaster response team in Dallas. We tended 2 crashes where there were lots of fatalities in 1985 and 1988. Lots and lots of fatalities. And in the first one, I saw family members. In the second one, I saw a survivor and some of the airport staff. Both of these crashes happened almost at the airport. I was also very, very lucky to have a volunteer position as clinical associate professor at University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas. A fun volunteer experience was with Amigos International, where I taught them first aid and how to give injections so that they could be involved with vaccination programs, both for people and for dogs. The last experience that I had that probably is the most formative for me, even at my age, was in Montana. I had 10 years, well, I was appointed to a commission, the Montana Domestic Violence Fatality Review Commission. As the name suggests, this commission, which was multidisciplinary, we reviewed fatalities as the result of domestic violence. This was a branch of the Department of Justice, the Office of Violence Against Women. And we reviewed all of these homicides in order to try and come up with recommendations for legislative change. And we were, fortunately, we were very lucky in the things that we were able to do and put forward. And some of our work was written up in a book recently that the New York Times recommended called No Visible Bruises. So that was, for me, an incredible experience, not only working with the people that I did on the commission, but also the work that we did. The last pictures you will see are my little family. There were 2 pictures of my daughter and her husband and the kids when I took them to visit some of the castles in Wales. These 2 pictures, the one on the left is me with my grandkids in Italy 2 years ago, and the one on the right when they both came to Steamboat to learn to ski. I won't go on anymore. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Angie. That was, well, I've been looking forward to your classification talk since last summer when I got to know you a little bit better. So thank you for sharing all of that today.
Thank you.
All right, I think we're back on schedule now. Mark proved how important and deserving he was of that award by keeping us on track again. And now, happy birthday, Bethany. Thank you for running Good News today.
Absolutely, my pleasure. That was just an incredible lifeline of adventure, and Angie, you're just so inspiring. I thought I have done so many cool things and not even compares to you. So thank you for sharing with us. Okay, so today is my birthday. Today is Jillian's birthday, and so I would like to donate $100 to cover both of our birthdays. I don't want to know how old you are, but I'm 39 and I'm sure it'll cover the rest. But so I want to start off with that donation for me. I also wanted to thank the Rotary Club for the generous donation to Be the Future last month for the donation period for this calendar year. I know I'll have an opportunity to thank you guys again in March, but I couldn't be more grateful for the support and the love from all of you guys as my friends and this community that we have. I've been working really hard with Be the Future, and between Colorado Gives Day and the support from you guys, we are ahead and going to be able to start working towards building some ramps and stuff to get our organization up to par to have students who have disabilities and need ramps and stuff like that. So it's just, we got more money, we received more donations than I could have ever imagined. And so now we're headed in an even broader direction. So thank you so much to the Rotary Club. Yeah, that's it. Anybody else have anything or want to make a donation?
Karen Ray has her hand
Okay.
up.
All right, Karen.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute. I had all these pop-ups about my 1:30 meeting. Thank you. Both presentations were amazing. Angie, that was awesome. And I owe you guys $17 for our 17th wedding anniversary coming up on Sunday.
Ian's got his hand up.
Ange put me down for $10. I'll keep it short because I spoke so much today. That was awesome, Angie. That presentation just made me feel pretty good inside about living life and being a Rotarian and what we do. Bethany, I don't know what you're doing with ramps and students with disabilities, but let's join forces because you got my interest, and I don't know exactly what you're into, but let's join forces on that one. That's
Yeah,
all
let's
I got.
do that. I would love to. I'll reach out to you. It's for teaching beekeeping. We want to be all inclusive, and there's a lot of kids that are need the handicap ramps. So yeah, we want to get everybody involved as much as possible, and so that's what we'll be doing.
That sounds fun. I'd love to be a part of it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll reach out to you. Anybody else have their hands up? I'm not sure how to tell.
That's fine. I'll try and call you out. Larry Winogle.
Yeah, thank you. I'll try to make this short. Happy birthday, Jillian and Bethany. We had two fantastic presentations today, but I just wanted to touch on the disability issue that Ian brought up. I was affected seriously. My older sister, Ann, had cerebral palsy, but she really fought through it and worked at the Overlook Hospital for 20 years. So I'm going to give $28 to the scholarship fund. After Ann started to fail, she went into a nursing home called English House in Philadelphia. And she went downhill and she died on my birthday in 2015. I was her protectorate for 28 years. And I would tell people, if you feel sorry for yourself, go visit English House, because you'll come out of there and you will not feel sorry for yourself anymore. My kids would complain when we'd go down there for Christmas Eve, but they tell stories of how great an experience it was to have done that. So anyway, thanks a lot, everyone. $28, Angie. Bye.
All right, awesome. Thank you. I believe next is Michelle Garner.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Angie, wow, what a presentation today. I absolutely loved it. I'm giving $49 for my 49th birthday on Thursday. So if you'll put me down for
Happy birthday.
Yay.
I'm seeking, Bethany. I'm seeking for hands waving.
Yeah, so am I. Ha! Not that good at this.
Oh, there we go. Philip Boland's got his hand up.
Angie, you can put me down for $10. My good news was me and the fiance Lori, we had a great 3-night, 4-day backpacking trip in the little westernmost part of the Grand Canyon, Hermit Rest to Hermit Creek to Granite Rapids and Monument Creek, and we had the whole place to ourselves basically for 2 days. We took 2 other friends and they only stayed 1 night, and it was a great trip. Backpacking in the Grand Canyon, because that's what I'll be doing pretty soon, is guiding down there and leading groups down in the Grand Canyon. So that's my good news.
Field trip.
Is Larry, did we get Larry Carlson yet?
Yeah, let me get you unmuted.
There you are. Hey, Larry.
Yeah, well, it's January and I have this problem that I have every year that I get a year older. So I'm pledge $78 or put $78 in for my birthday. The big thing about my birthday, that was the week that we finally got our first vaccine from Lion's Drug of all places, and they did a wonderful job.
That's great news, Larry. Now I want to hear from Rich Gore, but his hand's not up. And he's on mute.
Go ahead, Mark. This is John Holloway.
Sure, John.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for the great presentations today. Love being a Rotarian. Great that everybody is coming together. I'm putting in $20 for a peaceful transition of power tomorrow.
You're here. Thank you so much. Hazel, would you like to share some good news?
I just want to put in 10 for lovely Angie from Wales. I was like, just keep talking, girlfriend. So thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, she blew it away. That was really great. Thank you. Mark, do you see anybody else?
I don't. Heather just weighed in on text. Put me down for $20. Happy birthday to President Jillian, Larry, and Michelle. Thank you, Mark, for all you do. And another incredible classification talk. Thank you, Angie. Rabisa's got his hand up.
Hey guys, Angie, that was awesome. I sent you a little private note there, but man, that was so inspiring and cool. And I don't know if our students of the month are still up there, but that was a great way to start off the meeting, and also Casey's Pond. It was just a great meeting in general. I wanted to reflect a little bit on the fact I've been seeing Rotarians, even though we're all very socially distant and not making any plans. I'm running into you guys all over the place, and it's super fun and cool. On the middle of a snowmobile ride, I run into John Weibel and Brian from Doc's Auto snowmobiling out there, Matt Kempton on Buffalo Pass, and Scott Wither and Adam Maines up on the Emerald Mountain. And it's just so cool to see so many of you. Jillian pointed out that I think she did Manic with 6 different Rotarians or something like that this morning. So we're out and about. Although we're not able to really sit down and socialize, it's good to see some of you when we can, and looking forward to more in the future.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Eric. Ellen?
Unmute.
There you are.
Okay, sorry. So I don't know how to say this graciously, so I'm going to attempt it, probably weirdly, but so when we used to be in the room together and our students of the month would present, and PJ or Dan Callahan, whoever was introducing them, they would go on, and we would all be like rolling our eyes and looking at each other and going, oh my God, how can these students have done all this? Like they were just so incredible. And so it was wonderful to have the students of the month, which I really appreciate what they did. But I kept thinking when Angie was doing her classification talk, is that we're kind of feeling that same way lately with our classification talks. Is like, holy cow, how did these people ever do all this? And how did we get so lucky that they ended up in our club? And that's just what I want to say to Angie is how lucky are we that you ended up in our club? And the other quick thing is, and you know, when people say quick, it never is, but Jillian said, big deal for Jennifer Jones' talk on Thursday. First woman Rotary International president. It's beyond a big deal. Like every single person on our club should do whatever they can possibly do to clear their calendar. And for people who don't know this, it's a very long time in coming. Women were not even allowed in Rotary until 1989 when the Supreme Court ruled that they had to be admitted. So just keep that in mind for us to have a president, and everybody keeps exclaiming how great she is. So I hope everybody will join us and be there on Thursday, noon. Be there, be square.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, everybody make sure to be there. Ange Catterson, did you want to share some news?
Thanks, Bethany, for seeing that. Yeah, I was just putting money in because it was my birthday Saturday. So I'll be putting $51 in to the hat. Yeah. I can't believe one, I'm over 50 and yeah. And so good to see you, Bethany. Bethany keeps me well stocked with eggs, which I would so appreciate, and especially my husband.
That's
Love
awesome.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. And happy birthday to you.
Thanks.
Let's see. Mark, anybody else that you can see?
I'm muted, sorry. No, I'm not seeing anybody. I had a private chat with Dose because it looks like he's somewhere tropical and warm, but he said it's just the sunroom at his new place is west facing. So he's just sitting there in shirt sleeves, and I thought you were in Mexico or something, had a margarita hidden just out of screen. Anybody else? Oh, Rich, if you can figure out how to unmute, it's all you. Does anyone know sign language?
You can unmute him, Mark.
I can ask him to unmute. That's all I can do.
Move your cursor around and then a little microphone pops up at the bottom left.
I've been practicing my lip reading. I think he said, put me down for $1,000. He's so excited to be here. Looking for his technical support and not finding them.
That's funny because you unmuted yourself about a dozen times early on in the meeting.
Do you mind if I say one last?
There he is.
Oh, there he is.
Speak.
What?
Here you are.
It was $2,000.
We can hear you, Rich, if you want to say something.
It's like you have a treat or something. That's inappropriate.
I went away someplace, but Larry embarrassed me when he got up and talked about his birthday. Well, last November, I was 83. God damn it, I'd never given you any money, so put me down for $83. Okay, thank you.
Randy, that's your $83. He shorted you if that was June.
Oh, God.
Oh, he hung up. He's so angry.
I'm here.
Thanks, Rich. Good to see you.
Oh, good to see you.
Do you guys mind if I make one more attachment to my $100? I really want to thank my board members for Be the Future, which are Steve Sinnert and Karen Schneider. They have been walking me through how to do everything properly and where I don't embarrass myself, and just really teaching me about how to run a 501c3. So I really owe everything to them as well. So thank you, Steve and Karen, for all of your help. I really appreciate it.
Oh, I have to say something then. You reminded me. It's Ian. Sorry, interruption alert. Dan Bonner. Dan Bonner is my board treasurer, and he's a good man. And I'm really affected by what he's going through. So if anybody knows Dan or has an opportunity to reach out, he deserves it.
Amen. Yep.
Is he home?
Looks like he's on this call.
Huh?
He's on this call.
Oops, that's minorly embarrassing. Sorry, Dan.
Giving a little extra love is not embarrassing. You shouldn't feel embarrassed for that.
Not during Thank-You-ary.
Not during Thank-You-ary or Love-You-ary or March Gladness, which I do have to say March Gladness was Mark's idea.
We need a good April one. Oh, Paula, do you have something to add? Paula Gregory? No, you're just wait. Okay. Hey, there's Dan.
Hey guys, I'm recovering well, but I'm only able to do the couch today, which is why I had myself muted and no screen on. But I have to tell you, the outpouring from the Rotary Club over the last week has been incredibly welcome. All of the meals have really helped Kim out a lot, especially with the additional bad news of her niece's suicide over the weekend. So thank you all. Ange put me down for $20. And Ian, thank you for the kind words. Good to see everybody. I'm signing back off.
Good to see you, Dan.
Dan.
Get better.
Well, I appreciate you covering me, Bethany. But I feel like I have to put in my own $44 as well as yours because it's good news. So mine's $44 or
Happy
44.
44th.
Yeah, thanks. And also I would like to put some of that towards a peaceful transition tomorrow. Good call, John. I'm excited to see what tomorrow brings. So thank you all for being here. Bethany, thank you for running that. Angie, thank you for your classification talk. And stick around if you want to chat for a little while.
Thanks, everyone.
Hey, thank you.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for the great program today.